Caitlin Clark new product and collection with the new CC Nike logo will be dropping soon. We gonna get into all of it.
WNBA pick Caitlin Clark, her first pro game 10 days away, but even before she makes her pro debut, she has a major Nike deal on the line.
A rookie just walked into the WNBA and pulled off one of the biggest power plays in sports history, but it's not what you think. While everyone is talking about the money, the real story is how Caitlin Clark used her record-shattering $50 million Nike deal to expose the WNBA's deepest flaws and execute a move that has left the rest of the league's stars completely stunned. She didn't just sign a contract. She seized control, and the league is now facing a crisis that could bring the entire operation to a screeching halt.
So it's finally here. It's finally here. The Caitlin Clark logo. I just realized I haven't even put on my light.
But that $50 million figure was almost buried under a lie. When the news first broke, the Associated Press and other outlets tried to frame it as a modest 8-year, $28 million deal, a respectable number but nothing revolutionary. It felt like a calculated attempt to keep her grounded, to downplay the seismic shift that was actually happening. But the truth couldn't be contained. Nike quickly stepped in to confirm the deal's true potential, a staggering $50 million once performance bonuses are factored in. And let's be honest, with the way Clark is single-handedly carrying the league's viewership on her back, those bonuses aren't just likely, they're practically guaranteed. This wasn't just a correction, it was a statement. The old guard tried to control the narrative, but Clark's power was already too big to hide.
She's number 1 and 2 in every offensive stat. She's hitting more threes this season than Steph Curry did in his first MVP season.
The sheer scale of this deal is a direct slap in the face to the league's veterans. There are established NBA players, guys who have been grinding in the league for a decade, who don't have a sneaker deal that even comes close to this number. Yet here comes a WNBA rookie, barely a few months into her professional career, securing one of the most lucrative endorsement deals in all of basketball. The timing was masterful. She dropped this bombshell just as she was getting started, making it clear she wasn't waiting for permission to take over. It's not just unprecedented, it's humiliating for the so-called faces of the league who have failed for years to generate even a fraction of this buzz. Clark didn't just get a seat at the table. She walked in and flipped the whole DMN thing over.
Well, Caitlin Clark could be breaking another record, this time with an endorsement deal. The Associated Press says Clark will soon be signing an 8-year, $28 million contract with Nike.
But this hostile takeover didn't go unnoticed by the league's established players, and the backlash was immediate and venomous. While none of them would dare say her name directly, the thinly veiled shots started flying. Veterans who had spent years as the supposed faces of the WNBA suddenly started talking about the importance of paying dues and respecting the history of the league. It was a pathetic, transparent attempt to undermine her success. They see a rookie waltz in and effortlessly achieve what they never could, mainstream relevance and a monstrous endorsement deal, and the jealousy is palpable. They preach about growing the game, but their actions reveal the bitter truth. They're furious that the growth is happening because of her, not them.
Referees, are they ever going to call a foul? Y'all going to call a foul? Did you swallow your whistle?
This wasn't just Caitlin Clark winning, it was Nike making a brutal business decision that sent shockwaves through the league. By handing Clark a $50 million empire, Nike effectively declared that the WNBA's other stars were no longer relevant to their global strategy. For years, Nike had propped up other players with smaller deals, trying to manufacture a marketable face for a league that struggled for attention. But with Clark, they didn't have to manufacture anything. They saw a once-in-a-generation talent with organic, explosive appeal, and they went all in. It was the ultimate betrayal to the league's old guard. Nike didn't just sign a player, they chose a side, and in doing so, they told the rest of the WNBA that their time in the spotlight was officially over.
This is their best record in over 10 years.
This deal wasn't just about paying a player, it was about anointing an empress. Nike didn't just give Caitlin Clark a check, they handed her the keys to an entire empire. She immediately took to social media, dropping the now iconic CC logo and teasing her first signature shoe, the CC3, set for a 2026 release. The reaction was instantaneous and explosive. Fans weren't just interested, they were frenzied, demanding t-shirts, hats, socks, anything with her logo on it. This is merchandise that doesn't even exist yet, and people are already lining up for it. This is the kind of organic, unstoppable hype that the WNBA has desperately tried and failed to manufacture for years. And what happened next proved just how big this was about to become.
The new Caitlin Clark logo is out. She took to Twitter and said, tune in, logo collection coming soon.
We are witnessing a generational handoff, a passing of the torch from one legend to another. Kobe Bryant had his iconic line of PEs that defined a generation of basketball footwear, and now Caitlin Clark is stepping directly into that monumental space. She is literally the only player in the WNBA who can move product at this level, turning athletic gear into a cultural phenomenon. While other players' jerseys end up on clearance racks and their merchandise collects dust, Caitlin's brand has a gravitational pull that transcends the sport. The WNBA should be building statues of her outside their headquarters because she is single-handedly keeping them culturally relevant. But the league's gratitude is nowhere to be found.
Oh, that logo is fire. That logo is fire. Let's go. Let's go. I couldn't get the PEs.
Even before the official launch, whispers of a secret, rumored release began to circulate, and the numbers were mind-blowing. Reports claimed that on June 30th, 2025, a staggering 13,000 pairs of her Nike sneakers were sold in a single day. Gone, just like that. Whether it was a test run or a planned leak, the message was clear: her commercial power is a force of nature. She proved her value to Nike before the main event even started. Think about that. When was the last time anyone, anywhere, cared this much about a WNBA player's shoes? The answer is never. It was a stunning confirmation that Nike's bet wasn't a gamble. It was a guaranteed jackpot.
Situations that we were put in for, injuries or, coach it not being here for a couple games too. Like, everybody's been through a little bit of adversity here. So I think just giving our group credit for being able to stick together and, know that whatever's in our locker room is really all we need to go out.
But the money, the logo, and the shoe sales all pale in comparison to what she did next. At a Nike event in Indianapolis, all eyes were supposed to be on her. It was her moment, her celebration, her contract. Instead, she turned it into the most unbelievable assist of her career. She used her newfound power not to enrich herself further, but to shine a massive spotlight on her Indiana Fever teammate, Sophie Cunningham. In an industry known for its cutthroat competition and selfish branding, Clark flipped the script entirely, proving her influence was about more than just personal gain.
Number 1 is Sabrina's in WNBA logos. Number 2, I'm giving Angel Reese the logo, the number 2 logo. But, there is a but, this is 100 times better than the AJ Wilson logo. This is 1,000,000 times better than the AJ Wilson logo.
This wasn't some empty PR gesture. Nike unveiled a custom PE sneaker for Sophie, in Fever colors, with the phrase "no backing down" stitched onto the heel. That phrase is no accident. Sophie has become Clark's on-court enforcer, her bodyguard, the one who steps in when opponents get too physical with the league's new superstar. But here's the most insane part. Sophie Cunningham signed an official sub-deal under Caitlin Clark's own Nike endorsement. Clark literally used her contract negotiations to force Nike to sign her teammate. This is the first time in WNBA history a player has used their clout to directly lift another player onto their brand. It didn't come from an agent or the league, it came directly from Caitlin Clark.
Well, obviously WNBA eyes. Reebok could never, WNBA misses you. Caitlin Clark's signature shoe only 2 years overdue.
In a league simmering with resentment and jealousy, this move was a masterclass in leadership. While veteran players were taking subtle digs at her in the media, Caitlin Clark was busy making sure her own teammates were eating too. She built a bridge where others were trying to build walls. This act of loyalty to Sophie Cunningham was a direct rebuke to the toxic culture of envy that her arrival had exposed. She showed the world that true power isn't about hogging the spotlight, it's about using your light to help others shine. It created a powerful narrative of us against the world within her own locker room, solidifying her status not just as a star player, but as a true leader who commands fierce loyalty.
And it says new CBA by October 31st deadline appears increasingly unlikely.
While Caitlin is out here building empires and rewriting the rules of sports marketing, the WNBA itself is on the verge of a catastrophic collapse. The league and the Players Union are facing an October 31st, 2025, deadline to agree on a new collective bargaining agreement, and insiders are already sounding the alarm. Sources say a deal is looking increasingly unlikely, which means a strike or lockout could completely wipe out the entire 2026 season. Only the WNBA could be handed the biggest superstar in a generation and immediately fumble the opportunity with boardroom squabbles and corporate greed.
The WNBA Women's National Basketball Players Association have just over 60 days to ratify a new collective bargaining agreement, and it looks increasingly like the October 31st deadline will come and go without a deal.
The hypocrisy is staggering. The players aren't asking for private jets or diamond-encrusted lockers. Their demands are basic: a fair share of the revenue they generate, benefits that don't look like they came from a part-time job, and workplace standards befitting a professional league. While NBA players get roughly 50% of basketball-related income, the WNBA's salary cap grows at a pathetic fixed 3% a year. It's pocket change. Meanwhile, the league is sitting on a new $2.2 billion media rights deal and collecting $250 million in expansion fees from new teams. The money is there. It's just not going to the women actually playing the game. The league acts broke while cashing billion-dollar checks.
This was, I believe, Caitlin Clark's last game in the WNBA. And then also, of course, the WNBA All-Star Game had 3.4 million viewers, and that's the most watched WNBA.
This disconnect between growth and exploitation has reached a boiling point. Caitlin Clark has delivered the WNBA its highest ratings in history, with the 2025 All-Star Game drawing a record 3.4 million viewers. Arenas are selling out, and her merchandise is flying off the shelves. She is dragging this league into the mainstream, and how do the owners respond? By offering the players a pay increase that stars like Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier publicly called a waste of time and a slap in the face. When your biggest names are openly telling you the negotiations are a joke, you know the entire system is rotten to the core. The owners seem more interested in protecting their profit margins than investing in the product that's finally making them relevant.
Made it her business to repost Nike dropping her logo. Now, we all know this is long overdue, bro. Long overdue.
The numbers don't lie. Teams are moving their games to larger NBA arenas just to accommodate the massive crowds Clark draws. Charter flights, a luxury the league claimed it couldn't afford for years, suddenly became a reality, but only after the public outcry over her safety on commercial flights became a PR nightmare. Every metric of success, viewership, ticket sales, social media engagement, merchandise revenue has skyrocketed because of one person. Yet the league's leadership acts as if this is all just a temporary fluke. They are cashing the checks from the Caitlin Clark effect with one hand while refusing to fundamentally change the broken system with the other. It's a level of incompetence that is almost impressive.
In the city, and I think, there's already been so much time, effort put in by so many people that, aren't going to get credit for what they did to bring All-Star here. So, trying to make it the best All-Star the WNBA has ever had. I know we'll certainly do that.
And stuck in the middle of this chaos is Caitlin Clark herself, a superstar held hostage by the very organization she is saving. She is meticulously building a global brand with Nike, a brand that could transcend basketball itself. But her on-court career, the very foundation of that brand, is now at the mercy of stubborn owners and frustrating union negotiations. Her prime years could be wasted sitting at home during a lockout, all because the league she revitalized can't figure out how to fairly compensate its players. It's a terrifying prospect. She has all the power in the world of endorsements, but inside the WNBA, she's just another player whose future is dangling by a thread. And so the WNBA finds itself at a terrifying crossroads, with its fate hanging in the balance. Caitlin Clark has provided the blueprint. Her $50 million Nike deal is more than just money. It's a symbol of a new era where players can hold immense power, build their own brands, and even lift their teammates up with them. But that entire legacy is under threat. The one player who turned the WNBA into must-see television could have her prime years derailed by the very league she is saving. Fans want to see Caitlin Clark play, but if the league implodes under the weight of its own incompetence, everyone loses. The WNBA can either embrace the golden era she has created or self-destruct into irrelevance, proving once and for all that it was never ready for a star of her magnitude.